Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to think for a moment about the most powerful force in the world. It's not loud, it's not flashy, and it doesn't need to draw attention to itself. The most powerful force in the world, my friends, is silence. Now, I know what you're thinking. Silence? How could silence be powerful? You've been conditioned to believe that power comes from noise, from constant talking, from showing off, from always being on the go. But let me tell you something. The true power comes in the quiet moments. Think about it. When you're silent, you have the space to listen, not just to others, but to yourself, to your inner thoughts, your desires, your fears. In silence, you tap into the deepest parts of your mind, and that's where you'll find the answers you've been searching for. It's in the quiet where you have the opportunity to connect with your true self. It's in silence where the most profound breakthroughs happen. But here's the truth. Silence is intimidating. It's uncomfortable for most people because they don't want to confront what's inside. They don't want to deal with their doubts, their insecurities, or their fears. But that's where the magic happens. When you face that discomfort head on, when you embrace the silence, you begin to break free from the noise that holds you back. Now, I want you to think about this. How often do you talk just to fill the space? How often do you feel the need to be heard, to prove yourself, to seek validation? We've all been there. We live in a world that glorifies constant motion and endless chatter. But what if I told you that by choosing silence, you would experience a transformation? You'd start listening more, thinking more clearly, and making decisions based on clarity, not noise. Silence is not the absence of words, it's the presence of power. It's in the silence that you can focus on what matters. It's in those quiet moments that you can ground yourself, realign with your vision, and make decisions that take you one step closer to your goals. Silence gives you the space to be strategic. It gives you the chance to move with purpose. When you understand the power of silence, you stop reacting to everything that's happening around you. You stop letting the distractions pull you away from your path. You gain the ability to respond not impulsively, not emotionally, but with precision. You gain the ability to choose your actions and your words wisely, knowing they have weight and. So here's the challenge I want to give you. Start making time for silence. I'm talking about intentional moments where you turn off the noise, where you disconnect from the world, and where you focus inward. Silence is not something to fear, it's something to embrace. It's in those moments of stillness that you will find your power, your purpose, and the clarity you need to conquer anything that comes your way. Remember this, silence is the ultimate source of strength. It's where you find your answers. It's where you build resilience. It's where you unlock your true potential. So choose silence, choose to embrace it, because in silence you become unstoppable. Silence is an incredibly powerful tool, often overlooked in a world filled with constant noise and distractions. It's easy to forget the profound impact that silence can have on our lives, especially in an age where communication, whether through social media, news, or just the chatter around us, is constant. However, silence offers us something that the noise can never provide: the space to truly listen to ourselves. In this space, we begin to find the clarity that we are often searching for in our external world. But to truly experience this clarity, we need to first embrace the stillness and the quiet that silence brings. When was the last time you were able to sit in complete silence without any distractions? Think about it for a moment. No music, no television, no conversations in the background, no notifications pulling at your attention, just you and your thoughts. It's rare in today's fast-paced world to have such moments. But when you create this space for yourself, it's astonishing how much clearer things be. In silence, you hear your inner voice more clearly than ever before. You begin to understand yourself on a deeper level, connecting with the thoughts, emotions, and desires that often get drowned out by the noise of everyday life. For most people, the idea of sitting in silence can be intimidating. We are so accustomed to being bombarded by constant stimuli that the thought of quieting everything down can feel uncomfortable. It's almost as if we fear what might come up if we allow ourselves to be alone with our thoughts. The silence can bring up feelings of vulnerability, uncertainty, or even discomfort. But this is exactly why silence is so powerful. It forces you to face what is within you. It provides you with the opportunity to hear your true thoughts and desires untainted by the opinions and influences of others. It allows you to be fully present with yourself, which is often something we neglect in our day-to-day lives. When you sit in silence, you create the opportunity for reflection. Reflection allows you to evaluate your current state and your past actions. It gives you the ability to assess your life without the distortion of outside influences. In this quiet space, you can look at your life objectively and begin to understand why you make certain decisions, why you feel certain emotions, and why you react in specific ways. You have the chance to dig deeper into the root causes of your actions and beliefs. This is the moment where growth begins, where self-awareness is born. You can't develop true self-awareness without moments of introspection and silence. Moreover, silence offers us the chance to listen to our instincts. In the rush of daily life, it's easy to dismiss that inner voice that speaks to us in moments of stillness. But when we take the time to be silent, we give that voice a chance to be heard. Your instincts are your internal guidance system, the part of you that can help steer you in the right direction when life feels uncertain. Yet too often we dismiss those instincts in favor of external advice or distractions. Silence allows you to reconnect with your intuition, and it can be a game changer in decision making. When you're able to hear your instincts clearly, you're better equipped to make choices that align with your true self. In silence, you're also able to tap into your creative mind. We've all experienced moments when inspiration strikes out of nowhere, and many times those moments come when we are in a quiet and still environment. Silence removes the distractions that inhibit creative thinking. It gives your brain the room it needs to explore new ideas, solve problems, and generate innovative solutions. Creativity doesn't flourish in chaos. It thrives in the calm, the space between the thoughts. The more you allow yourself to be silent, the more you open yourself up to the possibility of new insights and creative breakthroughs. When we talk about finding clarity, we are really talking about the process of removing the mental clutter that clouds our thinking. In a world that demands constant action and reaction, our minds become overloaded with information, obligations, and external expectations. The noise of daily life fills our mental space, leaving little room for clear thought or reflection. Silence, on the other hand, provides an opportunity to clear that clutter. When you allow yourself to sit quietly and tune out the noise, you begin to see things more clearly. You can evaluate your life with greater perspective and make decisions based on what truly matters, not on what's being pushed on you from the outside world. In these moments of silence, you can also begin to recognize patterns in your life. You'll notice the recurring thoughts, behaviors, and emotional responses that shape your experience. You may realize that certain patterns are holding you back or causing unnecessary stress. With this awareness, you gain the power to change those patterns and create new ones that serve you better. This kind of awareness can be a catalyst for transformation. Silence allows you to see yourself in your life without the filters and distractions that often distort your perception. But silence is not just about the absence of noise. It's about being fully present in the moment. It's about tuning in to what's happening inside of you and around you. In a world where everyone is constantly busy, silence offers a rare opportunity to slow down and connect with the present. It's in these moments of stillness that you can truly experience the richness of life. You can appreciate the simple things, the way the air feels on your skin, the sound of your own breath, or the feeling of your body resting in a chair. When you are silent, you become more attuned to the present moment, and this deepens your connection with your surroundings and yourself. In a society that prizes speed, efficiency, and constant activity, silence offers a radical form of resistance. It's a way of reclaiming control over your life. It's a way of choosing what to focus on, what to listen to, and what to ignore. By embracing silence, you become more intentional with your time and energy. You stop being swept away by the demands of the world and start living in alignment with your own values and desires. Silence becomes a tool for reclaiming your power and your autonomy. And perhaps one of the most profound aspects of silence is its ability to help you reconnect with your sense of purpose. In the quiet, you can hear the whisper of your deeper calling, the part of you that knows exactly what you're meant to do and who you're meant to become. The distractions of daily life often drown out this inner voice, but when you create space for silence, you can hear it more clearly. You begin to understand what truly matters to you, and you can make decisions that move you closer to your goals and dreams. In a world that constantly demands our attention and energy, silence offers a sanctuary for the soul. It allows us to reconnect with our truest selves, listen to our deepest thoughts, and find the clarity and peace that we often seek outside of ourselves. By embracing silence, we can begin to transform our lives in ways that are profound, powerful, and lasting. Silence provides us with a unique opportunity for deep self-reflection. In the chaos of our daily lives, it's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of activity, the never-ending stream of emails, messages, and conversations. We often forget to stop and take a moment to reflect on our lives, our choices, and our purpose. In the midst of the noise, we lose sight of who we truly are and what we truly want. But in silence, we can reconnect with ourselves. We can step back from the constant distractions and gain a deeper understanding of our thoughts, emotions, and actions. Self-reflection in silence is like looking in a mirror. It allows us to examine ourselves without judgment, without the pressure of external influences or opinions. In these moments of stillness, we can ask ourselves the tough questions. Are we living the life we want to live? Are our actions aligned with our values? Are we making decisions that bring us closer to our true goals? These are the types of questions that can only be answered in the quiet of our own minds. When we take the time to reflect, we gain insight into our patterns of behavior, our motivations, and our fears. We can better understand why we react the way we do to certain situations and people. This awareness is the first step in personal growth. Without self-reflection, we continue to move through life without truly understanding ourselves. But when we create space for silence, we begin to peel back the layers of our inner world and uncover the truths that lie beneath. In silence, we have the chance to process our emotions in a way that's not possible in the noise of the outside world. Our emotions are complex, and they often require time and space to be fully understood. When we're constantly moving from one task to the next, we don't give ourselves the opportunity to fully feel our emotions. We might suppress them, ignore them, or distract ourselves from them. But in silence, we can sit with our emotions and allow them to unfold. We can experience the depth of our feelings without trying to push them away. This process of emotional reflection is healing. It allows us to understand why we feel the way we do and to release any negative emotions that might be weighing us down. Without this emotional processing, we carry unresolved feelings with us, which can affect our mental and physical well-being. Silence gives us the space to let go of emotional baggage and find peace within ourselves. Self-reflection is not just about looking inward, though. It's also about evaluating our external world. In silence, we can assess the relationships, situations, and environments that we surround ourselves with. We can ask ourselves whether the people in our lives are supportive, whether the work we do is fulfilling, and whether we are living in alignment with our values. In the quiet, we can observe how these external factors influence our thoughts, behaviors, and emotions. We may realize that certain relationships or situations are draining our energy or holding us back from our true potential. This awareness is key to making changes that can improve our lives. Silence helps us gain the clarity we need to make important decisions about the people, places, and things that deserve our time and attention. When we are constantly bombarded with distractions, it's easy to get lost in the noise and lose sight of what truly matters. But in silence, we can step back, observe, and make conscious decisions about what we allow into our lives. One of the most powerful aspects of self-reflection in silence is that it allows us to recognize our strengths and weaknesses. Many of us are quick to focus on our shortcomings, often ignoring the positive qualities and talents that we possess. We may struggle with feelings of inadequacy or self-doubt, but in silence, we can shift our focus to what we do well. We can acknowledge our accomplishments, no matter how small, and celebrate the progress we've made. Silence gives us the opportunity to recognize our potential and build self-confidence. By reflecting on our strengths, we can gain the courage to pursue our goals and dreams. We can also identify areas where we need to improve and take actionable steps to grow. Self-reflection helps us gain a realistic understanding of who we are, which is essential for personal development. It's not about perfection. It's about understanding where we are and where we want to go. Self-reflection is also an opportunity to reevaluate our goals and aspirations. Over time, our goals may shift as we grow and change. What seemed important to us in the past may no longer hold the same significance. In silence, we can reassess our goals and make sure they align with our current values and desires. This process helps us avoid pursuing goals that no longer serve us or that were never truly ours to begin with. It allows us to set new, more meaningful goals that reflect who we are today. When we take the time to reflect on our aspirations, we can clarify our vision for the future and take purposeful steps toward achieving it. Without reflection, we can easily get caught in the trap of following goals that are influenced by societal expectations, other people's opinions, or outdated beliefs. Silence helps us reconnect with our true desires and create a path forward that is authentic to who we are. Another key aspect of self-reflection is the ability to forgive ourselves. We all make mistakes, and sometimes those mistakes weigh heavily on our hearts. Guilt and regret can hold us back from moving forward in life. But in silence, we can offer ourselves the compassion and forgiveness we need to heal. When we reflect on our past mistakes in a calm and non-judgmental way, we can understand them more clearly. We can see them as opportunities for growth rather than as sources of shame. Silence provides the space for self-compassion, which is essential for letting go of the past and moving forward with a renewed sense of purpose. Without self-forgiveness, we carry emotional baggage that can prevent us from fully embracing the present moment and the future. In silence, we can find the peace and clarity we need to release that baggage and start fresh. Self-reflection is not a one-time activity. It's an ongoing process. It's something we should make time for regularly. In our busy lives, it's easy to forget to pause and reflect. But when we do make time for silence, we create a space for ongoing growth and transformation. We can evaluate where we are, where we've been, and where we want to go. We can continue to learn more about ourselves and make adjustments as needed. The more we reflect, the more we uncover about our true selves, and the more empowered we become to create the life we want. Ultimately, silence is the key to unlocking our full potential. It's in the quiet moments of self-reflection that we gain the insight, clarity, and understanding we need to move forward in life. Without silence, we remain disconnected from our true selves, living in reaction to the world around us. But when we embrace silence and make time for self-reflection, we begin to take control of our lives and create the future we desire. In silence, we stop reacting to the world around us and start responding with purpose. Reaction is instinctual. It comes from a place of automatic thought and emotion, often driven by external circumstances. When we react, we are allowing the world to dictate how we feel and behave. We are at the mercy of whatever happens to us in that moment. Reaction often comes from a place of fear, anger, or stress, and it can lead us to make decisions that we later regret. This is why so many people feel out of control in their lives, constantly reacting to situations instead of taking deliberate actions based on their values and goals. Silence gives us the opportunity to pause before we react. It offers a break from the constant flow of information and stimuli, allowing us to collect ourselves before responding to whatever life throws our way. When we are silent, we are not simply waiting for the noise to stop. We are actively creating space to choose how we will respond. This act of pausing is incredibly powerful because it puts us in control of our reactions. Instead of being driven by impulse, we can take a step back and assess the situation from a place of clarity and calm. In moments of silence, we can create a mental pause that allows us to step out of the immediate emotional charge of a situation. When something unexpected happens or when we face a challenge, our first impulse is often to react quickly, sometimes out of fear or defensiveness. However, this quick reaction is not always in alignment with our best interests or long-term goals. It is often driven by the need to protect ourselves, to defend our egos, or to avoid discomfort. But when we take a moment to be silent, to truly pause and reflect, we create the opportunity to make a more thoughtful, intentional response. This intentional response is different from reaction because it comes from a place of self-awareness and consideration. It comes from the knowledge that we have the power to choose how we interact with the world. In silence, we are able to tap into our deeper understanding of who we are, what we value, and what is most important to us. This allows us to respond in a way that is congruent with our true selves. Instead of reacting based on the pressure of the moment, we can respond based on our values, goals, and long-term vision. By taking a moment of silence before we respond, we can create more effective, thoughtful solutions to challenges. We can assess the situation from multiple angles, consider the consequences of our actions, and decide on the best course of action. When we are constantly reacting, we often miss the bigger picture. Our emotions can cloud our judgment, and we may make decisions based on short-term gratification or impulse. But when we are silent, we allow ourselves the mental space to think critically and strategically. This leads to better decisions and ultimately better outcomes. Silence also helps us to detach from the emotional charge of a situation. Emotions, while important, can sometimes overpower our ability to think clearly. When we are caught up in strong emotions such as anger, frustration, or fear, we are more likely to make decisions that are not in our best interest. These emotional reactions often come from a place of insecurity or a desire to protect ourselves, but they do not necessarily align with our long-term goals. In silence, we allow our emotions to settle. This creates the space for rational thought and allows us to respond from a place of strength rather than from a place of emotional volatility. When we respond with purpose, we are acting in alignment with our true self rather than reacting from our ego or emotions. The ego is often driven by fear and the need to protect itself, but it does not always serve us in the long run. By responding with purpose, we move beyond our ego and tap into our higher self, which is grounded in wisdom, compassion, and clarity. This allows us to make decisions that are in alignment with our deeper values and long-term vision rather than being swayed by the fleeting emotions of the moment. Furthermore, responding with purpose helps us to build emotional resilience. Life is full of challenges, and it is inevitable that we will face difficult situations. However, the way we respond to these challenges can make all the difference. When we react impulsively or emotionally, we may find ourselves caught up in a cycle of frustration, stress, or regret. But when we take a moment to pause, reflect, and choose how we want to respond, we become more resilient. We learn to navigate difficult situations with grace, understanding that we have the power to control our reactions. This ability to respond with purpose instead of reacting automatically strengthens our emotional resilience and allows us to handle adversity more effectively. Silence also helps us to break free from the pattern of living in reaction to others. Often we spend so much time reacting to the demands, expectations, and opinions of others that we forget to check in with ourselves. We may feel pressured to meet the expectations of our friends, family, colleagues, or society, and this can lead to a constant state of reactivity. We become caught up in other people's needs and desires rather than following our own. In silence, we can step back from the influence of others and reconnect with our own values, priorities, and desires. This allows us to respond to the world based on our own needs and goals rather than reacting out of obligation or fear of judgment. Responding with purpose also means taking full responsibility for our actions. When we react, we are often quick to blame external circumstances, other people, or situations for our feelings or actions. We place the responsibility for our emotions and behaviors on external factors rather than taking ownership of them. However, when we take a moment of silence, we are reminded that we are the ones in control of how we respond. We are responsible for our choices, and we have the power to change our reactions. By embracing silence and responding with purpose, we step into our own power and take full responsibility for our lives. Another important aspect of responding with purpose is the ability to set boundaries. In a world where we are constantly bombarded with demands and requests from others, it can be difficult to say no or to establish clear boundaries. We may feel guilty or obligated to say yes to everything, leading to burnout and frustration. However, in silence, we can reflect on our limits and what is truly important to us. This gives us the clarity and strength to set boundaries that honor our time, energy, and values. When we respond with purpose, we are able to prioritize our well-being and make choices that align with our personal needs and goals. In the long run, choosing to respond with purpose rather than reacting allows us to live more intentionally. It gives us the ability to create a life that is aligned with our values, vision, and goals. We stop living in reaction to the chaos around us and start living in alignment with who we are and what we want to create. This shift in mindset transforms how we approach challenges, relationships, and opportunities. Instead of feeling like victims of our circumstances, we become empowered creators of our own lives. The power to respond with purpose is one of the most liberating and transformative things we can do for ourselves. It is a skill that takes practice and awareness. But once we begin to embrace silence and intentional response, we start to see profound changes in our lives. We make better decisions, strengthen our relationships, and achieve our goals with greater ease and clarity. The ability to respond with purpose allows us to navigate life with strength, resilience, and grace. It puts us back in the driver's seat of our own lives, enabling us to move forward with confidence and purpose. In the stillness of silence, we find a deep connection to our inner peace. This peace is often something we seek outside of ourselves through achievements, relationships, or material possessions. But what we fail to realize is that true peace is not something that can be attained externally. It is a state of being that exists within us, waiting to be uncovered and experienced. In a world that is constantly filled with noise, distractions, and external pressures, it is easy to lose touch with this inner peace. We often find ourselves in a state of constant striving, chasing after the next goal or accomplishment, thinking that once we achieve it, we will finally feel at peace. But the truth is that peace is not something that can be found in the external world. It is something that must be cultivated within. When we take a moment of silence, we create the space for this inner peace to emerge. Silence allows us to disconnect from the external chaos and turn inward. It provides us with the opportunity to tune into ourselves, to listen to our inner thoughts, emotions, and desires. In this space of stillness, we are able to let go of the noise and distractions that typically cloud our minds and our hearts. We stop focusing on the past or the future, and instead we become fully present in the moment. In the present moment, we find peace. It is not something we need to search for. It is already within us, waiting for us to acknowledge it. Silence allows us to cultivate this peace by quieting the constant chatter in our minds. Our minds are often filled with racing thoughts, worries about the future, regrets about the past, and judgments about ourselves and others. This mental noise can create feelings of anxiety, stress, and unease. But when we allow ourselves to be silent, we give our minds the opportunity to rest. We create a break from the constant stream of thoughts, and in that space, we find stillness. It is in this stillness that peace begins to emerge. By quieting the mind, we make room for calm, clarity, and tranquility. In silence, we also develop a deeper understanding of ourselves. When we are constantly surrounded by noise and distractions, it is difficult to truly connect with who we are. We are often influenced by the opinions and expectations of others, and we may lose touch with our own desires, values, and needs. But in silence, we are free from these external influences. We can reflect on our own thoughts and feelings, gaining a deeper understanding of who we are and what we truly want from life. This self-awareness is the foundation of inner peace. When we know ourselves deeply, we are able to make decisions that align with our true desires and values, and this brings a sense of peace and fulfillment. One of the greatest benefits of silence is that it allows us to let go of the past and future and to fully embrace the present moment. The past is filled with memories, regrets, and unresolved emotions, while the future is filled with uncertainty, fears, and anxieties. Both the past and the future can prevent us from experiencing peace in the present. We become so focused on what has happened or what might happen that we forget to appreciate the moment we are in right now. Silence provides us with the space to let go of these mental distractions. In the stillness, we can release our attachment to the past and the future and simply be present. This present moment awareness is where true peace resides. When we stop worrying about what has already occurred or what may come, we are able to experience life as it is in its raw and beautiful simplicity. Moreover, silence allows us to process and release emotions that may be blocking our peace. Often we suppress our emotions or avoid dealing with them because they are uncomfortable or difficult. We may bury feelings of anger, sadness, or fear, thinking that if we ignore them, they will go away. But emotions that are left unprocessed can build up and create inner turmoil. Silence gives us the opportunity to sit with these emotions and allow them to flow through us. In silence, we can acknowledge and accept our emotions without judgment. We can experience them fully without the need to react or defend against them. This emotional release is liberating, and it allows us to create space for peace. When we allow ourselves to feel our emotions without fear or resistance, we can let go of emotional baggage and move forward with a sense of calm and clarity. Another powerful aspect of silence is its ability to help us connect with a higher sense of purpose. When we are constantly busy, we can become disconnected from our deeper values and goals. We may be so focused on the demands of daily life that we lose sight of what truly matters to us. Silence gives us the opportunity to reconnect with our purpose. It allows us to reflect on our life's direction and to realign ourselves with our values and vision. When we are in touch with our purpose, we experience a sense of fulfillment and peace, knowing that we are living in alignment with what is truly important to us. This connection to purpose creates a deep sense of meaning and peace, even in the midst of challenges and difficulties. Furthermore, silence helps us cultivate gratitude, which is an essential component of inner peace. In a world that is constantly pushing us to achieve more and accumulate more, it is easy to fall into a mindset of scarcity. We focus on what we don't have, what we have yet to achieve, and what is lacking in our lives. This mindset of lack can create feelings of dissatisfaction and unrest. But when we take time for silence, we are able to appreciate what we already have. In moments of stillness, we can reflect on the blessings in our lives, both big and small. Gratitude shifts our focus from what is missing to what is abundant. This shift in perspective creates a sense of peace as we recognize that we are already whole and complete, and that there is much to be thankful for in the present moment. In silence, we also cultivate acceptance. We live in a world that is constantly changing, and it can be difficult to accept things as they are. We may resist change, fight against circumstances, or struggle with things that are beyond our control. But silence allows us to let go of resistance and to embrace acceptance. In the stillness, we can release our need to control everything and allow things to unfold as they are meant to. This acceptance does not mean that we passively accept everything in life. Rather, it means that we choose to respond with peace and equanimity, even in the face of uncertainty or difficulty. Acceptance is not about resigning ourselves to negative circumstances, but about finding peace with the present moment, no matter what it brings. Silence also allows us to connect with something greater than ourselves. Whether you call it the universe, the divine, or your higher self, silence creates the space for spiritual connection. In moments of stillness, we can tap into a deeper sense of meaning and purpose. We can feel a sense of connection to the larger whole, knowing that we are part of something much greater than ourselves. This spiritual connection brings a sense of peace as we realize that we are not alone in this journey. We are supported by a force greater than ourselves, and this awareness brings comfort and reassurance. True inner peace comes not from external circumstances, but from within. Silence is the key that unlocks this peace, allowing us to connect with ourselves, release mental and emotional clutter, and embrace the present moment. It is in the stillness that we find clarity, acceptance, and a deeper sense of purpose. When we embrace silence, we create the space for peace to emerge and transform our lives. Silence is often perceived as empty or unproductive. especially in a world that values constant motion and achievement. We live in a society where action is celebrated and stillness is seen as a sign of weakness or inefficiency. The world is filled with noise, both literal and figurative, demanding our attention. From the constant ping of notifications to the never-ending stream of tasks, it can feel like there is no room to breathe. Yet, in the midst of all this noise, silence holds a profound power. It is in these quiet moments that we find clarity, focus, and the space to truly connect with ourselves and the world around us. The power of silence lies not in its absence of sound, but in the opportunity it provides for reflection, growth, and connection. In silence, we can clear the clutter in our minds and hear our deepest thoughts, desires, and fears. We are often so distracted by the external world that we neglect to listen to our inner voice. Silence offers a refuge from the chaos, allowing us to hear that voice more clearly. It is in these quiet moments that we can ask ourselves the tough questions. Questions about our purpose, our values, and our direction in life. These are the questions that help us grow and evolve, yet they are often drowned out by the noise of daily life. Silence provides the space for introspection, helping us to gain a deeper understanding of who we are and what truly matters to us. When we embrace silence, we give ourselves the opportunity to tune into our emotions and thoughts. In the rush of daily life, we may be so busy running from one task to the next that we don't have time to process our feelings. Emotions, both positive and negative, can build up over time if they are not acknowledged and processed. This buildup can lead to stress, anxiety, and frustration. Silence creates a safe space to sit with our emotions, to feel them fully, and to let them pass. In the stillness, we can examine our feelings without judgment and without the need to act on them immediately. This ability to pause and reflect allows us to respond to our emotions with greater wisdom and self-awareness rather than reacting impulsively out of fear or anger. The power of silence is also found in its ability to foster creativity. In a world that constantly demands our attention, it can be difficult to find the time or space to think creatively. Our minds are often overloaded with information and our focus is scattered. Silence, however, allows our minds to rest and recharge. When we step away from the noise and distractions, we open ourselves up to new ideas and insights. Creativity thrives in stillness because it is in these moments that our minds are free to wander and explore. Without the pressure to perform or achieve, we are able to tap into our innate creativity and problem-solving abilities. Silence allows us to think deeply, to explore possibilities, and to approach challenges with a fresh perspective. Furthermore, silence has the power to deepen our relationships with others. In our interactions, we often find ourselves talking more than listening. We feel the need to fill every silence with words, thinking that communication is only effective when it is loud and constant. However, true communication is not just about speaking, it is about listening. Silence allows us to truly listen to others, to hear not just their words, but also their feelings and intentions. When we are silent, we are able to create space for others to express themselves fully. We show them that we are present and attentive, that we value their thoughts and perspectives. This deep listening fosters connection and understanding, creating stronger, more meaningful relationships. Silence is not a void, it is a powerful tool for connection. In the context of leadership, silence can be one of the most impactful tools we have. As leaders, we are often expected to have all the answers, to make decisions quickly, and to provide direction at all times. However, effective leadership is not just about talking, it is about listening. Leaders who can embrace silence have the ability to observe and understand the needs of their teams. They can take a step back, listen to feedback, and reflect before making decisions. This creates a more thoughtful, inclusive approach to leadership, where everyone feels heard and valued. Silence also allows leaders to remain calm and composed in times of crisis. In moments of uncertainty, silence can be a powerful source of strength, providing clarity and focus when the noise of the world is overwhelming. Silence is also a powerful tool for healing. In the midst of pain, whether emotional or physical, we often seek external distractions to avoid the discomfort. We fill our lives with noise, hoping that it will drown out the pain. However, healing cannot happen in a state of constant distraction. It requires stillness, a willingness to sit with discomfort and allow it to pass. Silence creates a space for healing by allowing us to confront our pain head on. It is in the quiet moments that we can process our emotions, reflect on our experiences, and begin to heal. Silence allows us to be fully present with ourselves, giving us the strength to face difficult emotions and experiences without fear or resistance. In addition, silence has the power to ground us in the present moment. We often find ourselves dwelling on the past or worrying about the future, but the present moment is the only time we truly have. Silence brings us back to the here and now, allowing us to experience life more fully. In the stillness, we are reminded that the present is where life unfolds, where we can take action, and where we can make a difference. Silence helps us to disconnect from the distractions of the past and future, bringing our attention to the present moment. By grounding ourselves in the present, we are better able to appreciate life as it is, without the need for constant striving or achievement. Moreover, silence can help us cultivate patience. In a world that values instant gratification, silence teaches us to wait. It teaches us to sit with discomfort and uncertainty, trusting that all things will unfold in their own time. Silence reminds us that not everything needs to be rushed, and that sometimes the best thing we can do is to pause and wait for the right moment. Patience is a skill that is often overlooked, but it is essential for personal growth and success. Silence helps us develop this skill by giving us the opportunity to practice patience in a world that constantly demands speed and efficiency. The power of silence also extends to our physical well-being. In a world filled with noise and distractions, it is easy to forget the importance of rest. Our bodies need quiet and stillness to recover and regenerate. Silence gives us the opportunity to rest, both mentally and physically. When we allow ourselves to experience silence, we reduce stress, lower blood pressure, and promote relaxation. Our minds and bodies can heal and rejuvenate in the stillness, helping us to maintain optimal health and well-being. Finally, silence has the power to connect us to something greater than ourselves. In moments of quiet, we may experience a sense of transcendence or spiritual connection. Silence allows us to tap into a deeper sense of meaning and purpose beyond the noise and